Thank you for allowing me to survive my first council meeting here. We are going to move into our briefing session, the agenda of which I think was sent to you last week.
Yep.
So I believe our first item I'm going to throw to Dave. Is that yours? Is yours? No, not Dave. I can't remember. Failed already. Forward agenda items. Oh, I'm doing that.
Yep,
so the copy of the forward agenda items is attached. Any questions or correspondence to be entered into in relation?
I just wanted to comment that I think the election cycle that's included is the out of date one. So we just need to update the election cycle.
Oh, yes, to reflect the extension. Thank you for that, Mandy. Thank you.
No.
And did someone on council tell me whether our council gave it out to somebody's in Mid-Murray thought they were going for a position on council and they had all the wrong dates. So I'm not sure if we've given something out or they've just, anyway. Can we add to the forward agenda the rating issue? Oh, it's there.
4th of August 2026. Yep.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. And maybe a Murray-Darling Basin Association thing just to have a chat in 4 or 5 months, just as a preview. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else to add to that? Thank you. Thanks to Carol for arranging that and the distribution of this on. And it's not Dave, not so fast, Dave. I know you were keen to do the next item, but Gary is going to be talking about the Renewable Energy Community Benefit Sharing Policy post-consultation.
Thanks, Andrew. Look, I won't take too much in this in the sense that what I presented you with is the submission summary table that you would normally receive as part of a council agenda report. But I felt it was appropriate to bring this back to you first, like we did with the first round of consultation, to make sure that you're comfortable with the submission summary table before finally adopting the policy. As a result of the 12 submissions received, there was obviously a number of repeat submissions from some of the renewable companies and some of the progress and community groups out there that responded on the first draft. Those from the renewables were generally very supportive of the new policy being presented. The key thing that I wanted to ask councillors is in terms of the response that has been provided in the table. Do you feel comfortable with that? Because obviously that will become a public document and that the actions that are then proposed, because at the end of the day, I'm proposing no amendments other than the one, which was in response to one of the renewable companies, just making it very clear that council does have the final decision in terms of the funding. So that will be an amendment to clause 5.5.1, where Mid-Murray Council is responsible for the final approval of funding allocation. So that just clarifies that. I felt most of the submissions were in favour, like I said, with the direction. The key one is obviously from Foundation Barossa in terms of asking council to effectively reconsider its position. So again, I just want to highlight that, particularly in terms of point 1.1 and 1.5. As I said, I want to make sure you're comfortable with the response that is presented in the table before it comes back to council.
Is there anything there that would make me change?
No.
That's consensus all around.
Excellent. Gary.
Thank you. No, I think it was important, given the nature of this policy.
Appreciate that.
We do get it right. And, I like to say that, it's been very positive that the renewables, in terms of the feedback they've received, the fact that we are the first council in South Australia to actually lead in this space, because obviously it is discretionary, whereas in eastern states it's more mandatory. So they do actually appreciate the fact that there is something that they can actually use going forward. And to assist us as a council, so now with future renewable projects coming under the HRE Act, we do have an ability to then flag that we wish to enter into a community benefit agreement. for that too allows us to then make almost a condition of their approval that they commence a conversation with council.
I had a community group recently that I attended. It was brought up about this policy, and the wording they used was that council is making the energy producers join this. And I said, I hope I said the right thing. I said, no, can't actually force people into this.
Encouragement.
Yeah, we're encouraging them, but we can't make them join it. So
yeah, it is voluntary. But like I said, with the current projects that are out there, it is about having the relationship and the negotiation for them to sign up. And like at the moment, we've got Tilt and Iberdrola who are very favourable to the policy and willing to sort of put through a CBA. Future projects, like I said, we can actually get in effectively condition it through the HRE licence process.
Great.
Very. Since here 10 minutes and you weren't quite 2 minutes.
Well done.
Which is very impressive. Thank you. And no pressure, Dave. It's probably a very good flow on into the Iberdrola infrastructure agreement.
Okay, I've got a PowerPoint. I better go straight to questions.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well done. Are there any questions? No. Okay, Iberdrola is basically looking at doing a. We'll go with. There you go. Iberdrola is looking at doing a Tunkillo BESS just out of Tunkillo and the Mount Torrens on what is called Electronet Road. They're looking at doing 270 megawatts and battery storage facility, and then a 700 metre line, transmission line to the back to the power supply at the back of Tunkillo. They're looking at doing it on Electronet Road, which basically is a small dead-end road and goes to a substation. Predominantly, there'll be a lot of work going on to Blackheath Road, a significant amount of work on Blackheath Road. Now, given that Blackheath Road is about 26 kilometres long, they're looking at starting work actually almost immediately now on the property, doing exploratory work. And we've been in a lot of discussion with them over a long period of time, looking at an infrastructure agreement and locking them down to what we can get out of them to make sure that we protect our assets. So what we've been able to do is we've been working through the infrastructure agreement. We've nearly defined the scope of works. In defining the scope of works, we gave them one of our preferred suppliers, or a supplier that we have used, which is PAS. And what they do is they do pavement assessments, hence PAS. What they did was they did a bit of work out there. They did a weight drop, which checks the structural assessment of the road. And they've also gone through and looked at the weights they're going to carry over it, the vegetation they need to go through, the gradients, because they've got long battery low loaders and transformers. And they've come up with so PAS came up with a recommendation to council as to what needs to be done. So we've been working through with Iberdrola on what needs to be set out. We came up with a scenario where we would look at getting some sealed areas done in front of properties to prevent the dust and prevent all the nuisance in front of the place. And the way we've done that, we came up with a solution which I followed on from a DIT process to any residential property that was within 100 metres of the road. So hopefully by then the dust is distributed. And for a 300 metre section up to, so basically 150 metre section either side. Now, in doing that, that actually is problematic for us long term because obviously we've got to do reseals, we've got to maintain that at the end of the day. And grading it makes it extremely difficult because you have drop-offs and bump-ups when you're doing it. So there are quite a few areas along that road where we've identified where those sites will be. Iberdrola have been conducive to saying, yes, we'll do that. They've also looked at where the road resheet is probably inadequate now and looking at resheeting the road. So in essence, we're actually getting quite a substantial amount of money out of Iberdrola on our road network. They've also looked at the vegetation area. We've given them a roadside vegetation plan, and they're going to do tree trimming along there as well. So we are going to get some benefits from them over the period of time. How we're going to do it is we're going to issue permits to them that's similar to what we did with Summerfield. So there'll be a permit for maintenance, permit for the sealed areas, permit for resheeting, permit for so forth, and they'll bond it to the values. and then what we can do is we can release the bonds as those projects come on. And what I've just said with them is we don't want to confuse our patrol grading program with their maintenance. So then theoretically they could maintain the road for the duration of the heavy, what they call heavy transport impact that's going to occur to Blackheath Road. There is another area of Blackheath Road which we couldn't agree on, which is, if you look at that little black line there, that's Adelaide Hills Council. We actually have our property, our boundary up to where the yellow line is. We found it a little bit difficult to say, okay, well, we're going to seal it here and leave the last 80 metres. So we're going to take that bit out, and you'll see on that bottom portion there where those sealed areas are, on that smaller block, on where those residential properties are. Adelaide Hills Council basically came back to us, and we're working with them to say, okay, well, do you want us to run with the project, get it sealed, do this? And they said they don't want it sealed. If you want to seal it, it becomes a mid-Murray's. I said, well, no.
Oh.
So that's why we've left that portion out. Yeah. So that's why we're leaving that portion out based on the criteria we set. So we may get a little bit of conjecture there, but it saves the fact that there's going to be an 80-metre section of road unsealed on Adelaide Hills Council.
I'd just like to just.
I was going to say, you still have contacts there.
They did say it was from a previous policy body.
So can we put a big sign out at the end of that yellow section? You are leaving Mid-Murray.
Thank you for visiting. Yeah.
Or black bit of seal courtesy of Mid-Murray.
Is it worth me chatting to the mayor of Adelaide Hills?
Potentially, because I dealt with Jade at the time and her EA and saying, here's what we want to do and here's how we want to go about it. And I think it was beneficial for the Blackheath Road. The only problem is that people will do the same thing as what they do when they see a sealed road. They'll take off on it and then start and they think, oh, I've just turned to dirt. So maybe it is a good thing it is unsealed. It might just take some of the traffic, because that road does get a fair bit of traffic.
Yeah.
So it does have its pros and cons.
How many kilometres of road are we talking about there that is in their section? Sorry, I just.
That little black,
Yeah, that
that's probably about 80 to 100 metres.
Yeah, okay.
Is Adelaide Hills.
Yep.
The rest of the yellow is ours.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got 26 and a half, 26 and a half K. So we got 26 and they've got.
A little tiny bit.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking at doing. We're hoping to have the lawyers dress up the last bit of the infrastructure agreement. I want to put a report to council next month, so because it's a common seal because of the value of the works, and the value of the works is still being assessed by them. They've only just appointed their contractor. We've done it by a unit rate on what we believe it's going to be, and we're talking a couple of $1 million worth of work. So we are pretty hopeful that we'll end up with a relatively good structural road, whilst it's going to be intermittently sealed out those properties, and again will be problematic. At least we're going to get some benefit from the change of road use, which is going to occur because of the development.
Question. Just on the first page of all of your slides, the 20 hectares that's listed there as the site location, storage area 20 hectares. That's just the land that it's going on. It's not going to be a best that's 20 hectares in size, right? That's a huge amount of land.
That's, well, to accommodate that area, I suppose if you look at the one that's down here at Summerfield, there was 120 megawatts, 100, and they want to expand that one now. So if you think it's almost twice that size.
Okay. So we are talking about a really huge infrastructure of that large.
Yes.
Okay.
It is fairly large, and it's right by the substation.
Yep.
And then they've got to do a transmission line as well. They will actually be looking at the bridge that comes out on Brinkworth Road. It has been assessed, and they may have to just do some assessments to that when they do cross. But there is a little bit of extra work associated with it.
Just wondering with Blackheath Road, because I got a letter from Rockley Progress yesterday. I think it's in the post box and sent it to Mayor Bailey as well. And they just acknowledged the work on Blackheath Road from Reedy Creek in Talbot Reserve, and it's a pleasure to drive on. But there's another section of Blackheath Road through to the school, from the intersection of Rockley School. Will that be included in that?
Depends on what comes out of the PAS report, because obviously because we're saying that we need probably 200 mil of pavement. Now, in some areas, there's probably 100 mil of pavement. So there are, I suppose, changes all the way through to actually then build that pavement up, and that's dictated by the report.
Okay.
So without having the report,
did you get a copy of that letter?
I probably have yet.
Yeah, okay. No, it was only yesterday, so okay.
Dave, just on the road there, on the bend, how tight is that bend? Is that going to possibly cause an accident by people flogging along on the seal and then hitting the dirt?
Well, we're not looking at sealing that last portion there because otherwise we would have left that
Yeah,
last
I know,
bit.
but where the seal stops is right on the corner, isn't it?
No, I don't. Where the yellow.
The yellow end.
Yellow is our road.
That's right, and that's going to be sealed.
No, we're saying because the section of Adelaide Hills won't be sealed, we won't be sealing our portion there. We'll start our sealing back where those little black dots are on that other little.
Oh, right.
Right, so that yellow section won't be
Exactly
sealed.
right.
When
Yeah,
you look at
yeah.
that little insert map there,
Yeah.
you'll see that's where those locations have been, where we've GIS them and said, okay, that house is within 100 metres of the road. It's going to be subject to dust, traffic and a fair bit of nuisance. So that's what we've given them as our criteria to get sealed.
Because I mean that would be a bit of a risky thing to stop and seal there.
It's probably no different to what some of the back blocks now, where you go past someone's property, like Twitter, you go out there, you've got the bitumen, then you go off at the bitumen again.
That's straight though, not on the bend.
Yeah. The no matter whether it's sealed or unsealed, the Road Traffic Act still caters for maintaining a vehicle.
I'll say that Blackheath Road is a road that we do get a lot of complaints already around how it is and its condition and how it deteriorates. That's one of the ones I know Tunkillo community definitely complain a lot about to me in regards to Blackheath. I'm just wondering, this extra traffic we're going to be getting on this from this industry is going to be quite a lot more. I mean, it's great that we're getting some funding that's going to help with it, but do you have any concerns in regards to just like what community sentiment might be around? It's now being quite a heavily used road. That's the increased usage that's going to be happening on that road.
The road is basically a shortcut to get from Mount Torrens through to Reedy Creek to get to Murray Bridge. A lot of people use it. We put traffic counts out there, and it was actually when Electronic were doing an upgrade to the substation. So the through traffic was probably less than normal. I've also had the same complaints, and I've driven it too, and they all say they're down to 30 kilometres an hour. Well, I average 90 kilometres an hour along it. So it's not as bad as what some people say when they think the road is as bad as what they say it is.
Yeah, it is.
So it's very subjective about how bad a road is.
Yeah, totally.
So what we look at is obviously the thoroughfare. We've just done some of our own work. We held off for 1 or 2 years as carry forward works because of this. But we got to a stage where we just had to do the section from Reedy Creek up.
That's really good.
And people loved it, yeah.
It's brand new base. We've done the top end as well. So given that, it's 26 kilometres long, we can't always spend our money on that section. We've got 2,300 other kilometres.
Also, Dave, I think it's during the construction phase that the heavy traffic will be. Once it's established, there won't be that traffic.
Yeah, that's true.
So a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, the traffic management plan does state there's a significant amount of traffic, hence why we want to go down this and put the maintenance issue back onto there. And also that before they start bringing in all the heavies, which got to come from the port all the way around, being the transformers and the batteries, the road has to be traversable and structurally sound.
Work. Yep. Thank you, Dave. Great report.
Okay, next one.
Happy.
Car rallies.
Long.
Okay, we used to allow rallies on our roads, basically on some of our lesser assessed roads, which were probably conducive to rally use.
Yeah.
The organisers used to come out and say, we'll undertake consultation, although the consultation was basically they put a sign up saying there's good roads going to be closed and there's a rally on. So you drive around Dutton, out at Frankston Road, there'd be a sign on the side of the road, and if no one actually drove past that sign, you wouldn't know it was there. They also stated many times that they would return it to the previous condition, and if we left the road rougher as possible before the rally, it would be great. And generally, however, in saying that, when I did go back to a rally organiser, I said, well, how much are you going to put towards it? And then they just said, you got to grade the road anyway. So you're going to grade it. Thanks. So basically, we end up remediating most of the roads post-rally. In regards to, I suppose, the public and accessibility in the residents, we do and have received quite a few pre and post-rally concerns, given that it's their primary road to get to their property. When you say, look at Pine Hut Road, Cubic Road's farm road access as well, and they're the roads they were using. So basically, they come in and use the road, and I suppose they also one of the rallies also was in the Rockley area many years ago, and they went into the Murray Bridge area. And Murray Bridge said to them, how much are you going to give us for remediation? They said, well, no, you're going to grade the road anyway. So Murray Bridge actually put a policy out, we don't do it. So basically from that, there was a report requested to go to council. Excuse me. And that went up in December. So we've relied on that report to, I suppose, discourage anyone. Following on from that report, some of the rally organisers, there was a group in Walkie 100, another one or two came and met both Ben and myself, and they wanted to know how we can overturn that resolution. Ben suggested come and do a deputation to council, see what happens. And they never did that until December last year when we received that deputation. So, and it's of note now that the Flinders to Fleurieu deputation came. We put a report up on the basis of where we're at. And that those roads were where the previous rally routes used to be anyway. So I'm not sure whether there was the organisers knew that or not. So there was a fair bit of discussion at the last council meeting, and out of that is the considerations we probably need to assess. Yes, do we need a policy? Potentially yes, but what does it look like? What do I need to do to bring a policy to council? Is it a yes that we hold it with conditions? Or is it no, that we don't have council rallies in our road area? Or is it that we go, yes, but they've got to demonstrate the benefits, but how do they demonstrate the benefits? One of the benefits one of them said once was we got to fuel up in Manham. The last one from Fleurieu, they started from Kapunda, they're going to end up in the Barossa. So, and I know, I'll take on note what Councillor Meyer said, that if they were actually going through our area, accommodation and so forth, yes, there'd be massive benefits. But I suppose we just need to go.
We just run out of fuel when we actually need fuel, so it's actually a detriment.
Hey, we seal our pay for the roads, you know, pay for the funding of our regrading of roads and have that be a clause in it. Like if you want to have a rally in poor road condition to be optimum for rally, that part of it is without question that they then pay to have our, you know, the costs that is associated with us doing the roads afterwards, you know. And I think something like that where it's sort of like we're going to damage your roads that are kind of in a bad damage anyway. We're going to make them probably a little bit more tractioned than if we were to allow it, that's part of like a clause that they do that. But
the thing is with that though is that it's not just the roads that the rally cars are driving on. It's the spectators. They're using roads near where the rally is and they're dirt roads and they're chewing them up too. Well, they don't see a grader either. The rally didn't go on those roads. So it's not just the rally road.
it's true.
And we're talking of thousands of dollars to fix the road after they've come through. So there's no group that's going to
want to do that.
Potentially.
And there's no incentive because they like it rough as it can be. So where's the incentive for them to actually fix the road up if they want to come back the following year?
And I guess the roads they always tend to use are Pine Hut Road, Three Chains Road, like these roads where it is farmers that are living down there that need to try and get up and down their roads with tractors and things and do their work. It's like not a normal resident can be like, I'm just going to go watch the rally for the day. But a farmer's like, I got work to do. I'm not watching the rally. I want to get in and out.
The residents, I mean, you know, that's a bit rude. We're going to close your road. Okay.
Yeah.
Just have to wear it.
I think a policy or statement would be useful. But when you get these applications, to say this is why we don't, if that's what we agreed to maintain, this is the way. Yeah.
I think you probably need guidance on how that policy is put together. There are other policies around where they have, they will accept our rallies. I suppose from a team perspective, we spend our whole time repairing roads. And then we allow a rally, and then we get questioned, why'd you allow a rally on our road when you're trying to repair roads? So reputationally, it doesn't look good for us.
No.
Sorry, does Murray Bridge have a policy?
I was just going to ask
Murray Bridge, I believe they have a position after the last one. I don't know whether they've got a policy, but they've got a position. I know Adelaide Hill's got one.
See what they wrote.
Yeah, perhaps you can sort of base one similar.
I need guidance on the policy. Do I go yes with conditions, and what are those conditions, and how do I demonstrate that? Or do we just have a flat line no?
That's what we've agreed. That's what we've agreed already.
The only thing I'll say is that, as I've stated before, back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was involved with rallying in marshalling and road closures and stuff. And some of the events actually were quite beneficial to the areas, like the Clare Rally, for example. People used to stay in Clare at the caravan park or surrounds, and there'd be hundreds of people getting their food and fuel and accommodation in Clare for the Clare Rally. And it was centred around the Clare and surrounding areas, and it was a day-night event. great event and it was really good for the town. And I think that if it's, in my opinion, if it's managed properly by the organisation wanting to put the event on and that there is shown to be economical benefit to the district, then I think it's worth considering, because the rallies that I used to attend, the spectator points, there were designated spectator points. And sure, you can't stop people going wherever to look, but there were designated spectator points. And at those spectator points, there would be the local Lions Club, the Rotary Club or whatever, doing the catering, selling drinks and food. So there was definite benefit to the local communities. And so I think if it's run similar to that, then there is a benefit to the area. And as long as they are prepared up front, management of the event prepared up front to cover any costs of repairing any roads. That's my stance on it.
As I think Georgia said, there'll be a lot of groups that organise a rally. They don't have money in the bank to fix up roads. I'm just interested to know what the cost benefit analysis was in Clare. So yeah, it brought money in, but how did the farmers feel, or the people who lived on those roads? Were they just, well, sorry, because it's good for the town, or, it's tricky to know.
Well, I don't know if that event still runs, but it did run for many, many years. And in the time that I was involved with it, I didn't actually hear any bad publicity about it. The people of Clare were actually pretty happy that the event was there.
So it just happened to stop? Or...
Sorry?
So it just happened to stop?
I don't know if it's still running or not. It's been running for many years.
But I guess with the Clare one, you're saying it's like a destination Clare, like where the whole rally is happening in Clare and all of the benefits are then within that region. But we haven't actually been approached by anyone that was like wanting to create a Mid-Murray rally that is just the Pondy rally or the Manham rally. It's like we're a destination in a greater scheme of from the Fluria, the Flinders, they both get their names.
So
we don't really, we're just a bypass.
So, for example, if there was a service point within our region where all the teams stopped for a couple of hours to fix up their car, then all their service crews are there. They're providing benefits to the economy because they've got to eat, they've got to drink, that sort of thing. And at all the service points, you get a lot of spectators wanting to see the cars getting worked on. So it all depends on how the event is going to be run. And as far as the smaller clubs not being able to have the money to do it, well, then it simply comes down to they have to increase the entrance fees to cover the costs to repair the roads. If they want to use our roads,
Do we ask for, like, say if we were to approve with a policy that I feel like you have a lot of interest and understanding around, if it was to be like, yeah, you repair the roads, is there a bond we expect them to pay beforehand for that? Because sometimes they can say they will and agree to anything to let the rally happen. And then afterwards, when we're chasing them up for the funding, then it's like, oh, well, we're not going to give you the money or you're going to reseal it anyway. You know, and then we're left, chasing them with lawyers to be like, well, you promised that you would repair the condition of this road and it's been degraded. You know, so I feel like if we were to do something like that, we'd need to have some kind of financial bond to secure or something.
I would assume, and Dave would have obviously better idea than me, but I would assume that if they're listing a certain road, a certain length of that road that they want to use, Dave and his team would have an approximate cost of what it would be to repair that road after the event. And so that could be told to them up front. If you want to use this road, minimum cost after your event to repair the road is going to be X, Y, Z. Are you prepared to pay that? Can you pay that? If not, bad luck.
How do we put this in a policy?
I suppose just listening to the conversation, I suppose you can put a policy that we don't have one unless they came to council with a deputation to prove how it went, and then we put a bond on the event so that we could draw down on that dollars. We had a bank guarantee.
You didn't have financial guarantees.
It sounds like a job for the economic development officer in a few years' time when we actually have one, rather than you on the limited time and resources that you've got in your department. I think
you really don't know what's going to happen unless you hold the event.
Yeah.
It's the same as
Councillor McGregor knows how many complaints you get from your community, and Councillor Schultz after there was an accident in her community.
And also the roads that they're generally going to target, a Pipeline Road and Pine Hut Road. Well, I can't see the local area getting any benefit from that because the the rally people and the spectators, if they're going to stay overnight, they'll head back up the hills to the Barossa, they're not going to.
But if
Environmentally.
you use the example of the tour down under, okay, council did it first, they did the start. Everybody rolled up to be standing there in line and they all took off. That was the end. None of the shops could open because there was barriers in front of them. It took 3 hours for council to rip all the barriers down. So there was half a day of trading lost for 5 minutes of glory. So the next time we'll have the finish. So we forked out all the money to do somebody's road. But anyway, so we sealed a road for them to have the finish. Then the council put on a band and everything down at Marianne Reserve. But 5 minutes after, they were all packed up and gone to the next town.
We were under the caravan park and there was no extra people staying over for that. So.
Especially when we're trying to.
No benefit to Manham at all.
And when we're talking about these areas, we're talking about environmental tourist areas and destinations that we want to create ecotourism around as well. And I just think the idea of rally races through those ecotourism, fragile remnant areas isn't necessarily the best reputational look for our dark skies ecotourists that might be out there at the same time trying to just walk through those lovely areas.
Yeah, I mean, we just bang on about how much time and effort we put to maintaining the roads so that they're usable for the public, and it's great cost and effort. I mean, I don't know, but the town-centric one, that may be a completely different ball game. I mean, we could find out, I suppose, about how that was managed, Claire. I don't know.
Well, one thing, like I said, just going back on my experience from years ago, is if a club came to council and said, we'd like a rally to go through your area, blah, 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 then maybe council could say, all right, so are you considering having a service point at the Sedan Oval and having people pull into the Sedan Oval to work on your vehicles and have the spectators come in, and then the township of Sedan gets benefit from that because of people.
So the first question is, what tangible benefits are there to us?
Exactly.
And so the volunteers who live on those roads that can't get there.
And actually council doesn't own the Sedan Oval, so.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, how keen are council to get Dave's team, who are minimally resourced, to work on this right now, or do we wait a year or two and let the new council determine?
Might be the way to go, I think.
Seems to be
by the statement.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yep.
I just don't feel like wasting Dave's time on this when we've got so many other priorities.
That.
I just wonder what it's worth, again, fresh set of eyes, but I just wonder whether it's still addressed on a case-by-case basis if there are requests. And in the meantime, you've got an opportunity over the next 12 months to really have a look at the whole economic development and tourism space and events, and have a look at where this fits in it, because it might be able to capture in a broader, in a broader context, which might actually make it a little more efficient, a little bit easier to manage over time. So they're the sort of things that you can have a conversation with the new CEO, and the new CEO can have with the new council. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh no.
So just leave it as it is for now.
I think now. Not that we're making a decision, but a case by case basis.
That's right.
What is council like the Flinders to Furo? Council can make the determination.
Having just come back from Flinders Ranges, the roads up there are horrendous. Like, they are the worst roads in the entire state. And, we've got the most expensive rigs going along that road of tourists coming up to visit the Flinders Ranges and up there to Murray. And we don't want to be like that with those roads at the condition they are. I don't know how we're even doing it in the Flinders, because the roads are just so bad there already. Like, a rally going through the Flinders, when I got up there recently, I was like, how's that going to work for the community up there where their roads are bad enough as it is?
I guess looking at the Flinders to Flurio event, because it is potentially an international event and a national event, it may end up being like Target Tasmania. Like, it may end up being a huge event that happens every year, and international competitors from all over. So
Things set in concrete.
no, it's not. It's not. But I'm just saying that, don't shut it out completely, because down the track, this could be a massive event coming through our district. That's all I'm saying.
So everybody, thanks, Dave. That was a little more than 10 minutes. I'm just saying.
Gary. Yeah.
I don't think he went 15 on the one before though, so.
That's right.
Yeah, I wasn't going to give him that just yet. So, did you want to move into project works?
Yes, yeah, now I probably need you to bring that one up. I don't have that on that screen.
You don't have it on the screen?
Sorry, it's actually on the attachment, sorry.
Attachment, yep.
Yeah. Project works policy. Basically, what we've been able to do is, I suppose, just bring it up to speed. We've taken a couple of extracts from another council where this policy was in place as well. And what we've actually been able to do is add a clause 3.1.4 because what I suppose we do get asked to do some in-kind work every now and then. Just specifically, we did one over here at the ambulance centre where they just want us to dig out a bit of garden bed. It's probably half a day's work, and we had nowhere to capture that when we went to do it. So what we've put is a couple of clauses in there to cover off that the CEO's got delegation to facilitate works for an organisation or for a agency where we can actually then facilitate those works for in kind, I suppose, for reputational matters as well. So there is a copy of the original policy with track changes and then the other policy as a clean cut. The only amendment I'd like to probably add to that is we did change it from what was our construction coordinator had the responsibility to ensure the proper operation of the policy. We now changed that to myself as my position, but I'm looking at doing the Director of Infrastructure and Field Services or delegate responsible because basically there's a lot of things that happen on the road when someone says, oh, why did you hear, can you do this? And then that way they've got the delegation to do it. So I'd like to bring this policy back to the next council meeting and put it that way if there's no comments on it.
That's good. And
He made up for it.
2 minutes. No one's timing you, actually.
Well, I noticed, Dave. Congratulations.
I will admit I haven't gone through this with a fine tooth comb, so I'll send Jenny feedback over the next few days. Has everyone read through it with a fine tooth comb?
Well, I went through it with not a comb, but just
You're happy with it?
the last night at school. Yep, I was.
I'll be honest, I looked at it and went,
Yeah, there was too many blue words.
yeah, I just moved on.
There was lots of blue. There was a clean copy after.
Yeah.
There was.
Clean copy.
I also want to make sure it fits in with the Act about what the Act allows us to spend ratepayer money on as well. So, yeah. Oh, that's your job.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Thanks, everybody.